Hi everybody, this is mikeymushi. I'm joined with Wongel on our latest episode of our weekly Africa podcast news show, where we talk about all the happenings that went on this week in Africa. Wongel, you can say hi to the people.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Yes, so as we wait for people to join, as always, thank you so much for the support you give us for our first episode. It got good feedback. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for sharing it. And thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the new members who joined, right? And thank you for everybody who went over to Wongel's channel and subscribed. And also Wongel's fan who came to Tunachiki and subscribed. We always appreciate you guys. Yeah. Any good news coming from your side?
My side.
Nice.
Well, as always, it's been eventful. There's always something happening in Africa, right? But I found it exciting that now we have at least five African countries that are going to play in the World Cup. That's exciting. I know our youth really love soccer. Why is that, by the way? I've never been into it, so I like the spirit, and I watch it when I have to. But are you a fan?
Yeah. I'm an extremely huge fan of football. Like I think it's a growing up thing, something you just become a fan of, like a cultural thing.
Why is it like I've always had a question like why? Because I know you can be a fan for anything, right? But like
Yeah,
when it comes to football, people are just crazy for their teams, and
football team.
like I've
Yeah.
seen people uh, go crazy over a team losing, and they will just their day is ruined because of that.
There's some people even who can even kill themselves or kill somebody else because of football. But for me, I think it's because football is such a cultural thing that it's just not a football game. It's your friends, people who you interact with. So it's just more than a game, and that's why people are passionate about it.
And one question for you. Until people think I want to know this. Why do fans stick with someone or a team even though they're losing? Like I don't see anybody change, even though that team has not won any game for a long time. They'll still go out there, pray,
And
wish, and still support. What is that about?
Arsenal
Like, they want
fans,
to be what is it about?
like Arsenal fans, like it's just commitment.
Yes,
You do,
Arsenal.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
exactly
yeah.
it.
So even if your team is losing every day, like Arsenal fans, so they'd rather end up complaining the whole day than just choose a team that's always winning. So yeah, like I guess that's happening.
Are you an
So
Arsenal fan?
no. No, no, no. Before we start, we have a huge announcement. So, we recently released our children's book called Maua and the Gardens of Plenty. And if you want a copy for yourself, a free copy, all you have to do is download the Nala app and use code KundaKids to make a little transfer of as little as £1, and you'll actually get the book for free. So take this opportunity to support us and also get your free copy of Maua. We'll put the links in the descriptions below. The link is joiniwantnala.com /KondaKids. You can find the Nala app in the Play Store and in the App Store, where you can use it to send money back to Africa if you live in the UK, and they'll be soon coming to the United States. So take this opportunity and yeah, you can support us. So we can start with today's this week's news. So, Wangel, maybe you can start us off of what was going on.
Okay, so where do we start? Do we want to start from Kenya, since we're both
Yeah,
here?
yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, we can start from the uh, man that is suing Facebook, Meta,
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah, definitely.
yeah, for the environment they have created. And I I thought it was rich of them for firing him. The whole case was, maybe you can give us details on his name if you have it
Mm.
in front of you. Like all he tried to do was have a union for the
Yeah, yeah.
employees, and they fired him. Like that's wrong. But I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have done that if it was outside of Africa. I think they thought they can get away with it. But I'm so glad that he's suing them, because now that is an example for those big corporations, multinational companies that feel like they can do anything when it comes to Africa.
For me, when it comes to Facebook, I think Facebook is the worst company and the most evil company
Why do you
to
say
ever
that?
exist. Yeah, because Facebook is so dangerous because all the information they have on you and how they use it to manipulate people. Like last year, like I think yeah, last year there were five African presidential elections that were solely influenced by Facebook, where all you have to do is just pay the right people and they can use Facebook to sway your citizens to vote a certain way or make a certain decisions. So for
Yeah.
like I think countries like Madagascar, they were attacked. Like even Kenya in the previous election, one of the candidates were using that like what was they called? Cambridge Analytics or something, right? Those companies that use your data to manipulate you. And Facebook knows this. They sell this data to people. Even recently, there was one of their higher ups, how they were saying Facebook knew that their app was making youths to commit suicide, right? But they covered that research because they still want youths to use Facebook. So, like when it comes to Facebook and their dealings, and like that's even most of the reasons they had to change the names to Meta, because the term Facebook is so stained and has nothing to do with the term Facebook is so stained and has nothing to do with social media these days. It's just a company that sells your data to people. So I'll never be a fan of Facebook. Even Tunachike is out of Facebook. We rarely post anything on Facebook. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the reason of this is also Facebook censors Pan-African content. So if you want to try this, just do you post your videos on Facebook?
No, I don't actually.
Like any African content creator who posts like when I mean African content creator, people who do videos like us, people who make Pan African content, pro African content. Like so Facebook actively censors your content. Like we've had two pages. One had I think 100 more than 100,000 likes. It got unpublished for no reason. They didn't give us a reason. We also had another one that was starting up. It had like 20,000. It also got unpublished. No reason. So from then on, we just kicked Facebook, and anything Facebook, we just like, oh, like they could just go
Okay.
on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So anything that comes out from Facebook, it never surprises me. They use unfair practices. Both and in Facebook, it's just not just in Kenya. The same things they do here in the US, the same thing we are trying here. How in the US they're stopping the employees from unionizing. You see, it's the same behavior they are trying to do like in Africa, trying to exploit the employers. Yeah. So that's our take on Facebook, and good on for the Kenyan for suing them, because yeah, you have to hold these companies to so that they start treating you better. Yeah. So for us, we all yesterday we reported that I think Congolese and like I forget somebody from another African country. Yeah, a Congolese
Central
and
Africa.
in Central Africa, like mercenary or soldier, they died in Ukraine during the war. So maybe you can let me know, like you can tell me your opinions on that. Africans fighting abroad for other countries.
Hey, where do we even start? Like it's I was saying earlier, like anybody dying anywhere in the world is sad, right? Like people are dying all over the world. But to hear that Africans are now dying in the Russia-Ukraine war because they want to go and insert themselves there, it's mind-boggling. Like it is so surprising to me and shocking to me. And I think it's crazy, but I'm pretty sure there are some people that are packing to go right now. Now, I think these two men, mercenaries, died, I believe, fighting for Russia, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fighting on the Russian side.
Thousands of Africans that are willing to now go and fight with Ukraine, to stand with Ukraine. So, how many will die on that side? That we haven't heard, but I'm pretty sure we'll hear. And I'm not happy about it. That's what I have to say. There are so many wars, even here in Africa, if you want to be a mercenary and help your brothers out. Like, you traveling all the way to Europe and losing your life, it's really sad, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. So, like even now, in the same topic where Ukraine is bringing Africa like into this war. So recently, the embassy for Ukraine in Kenya asked Kenyans and the Kenyan government for financial help to help them in the war. So, what do you think of a European country that needs help is asking Africa for assistance? Right? Let me know, like, what do you think about that?
I think it is ridiculous, mainly because of what's going on right now in Ukraine to Africans. At the end of the day, I understand helping other nations or like needing to have a good relationship between two countries, right? Foreign relation is important, but when these people that are asking Africans or Kenyans help, like they're doing the most horrible things to our brothers and sisters that are trying to escape war. They were treated like they're not human, subhuman, basically. So I think it's the audacity for me.
Oh, yeah. I'm being told that when I was putting the Maua icon, like they were not hearing us. So like they couldn't
Totally.
hear us. Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Yeah.
forget that. So what I was saying is that we have a sponsor called Nala that has decided to give you a Maua and the Garden of Plenty book for free. It's a book that we've written, and all you have to do is use the Nala app, download the Nala app, and use the promo code Kunda Kids, and you make a transaction as little as £1, $1, and you'll get the book for free. So check out the link. We will put it in the descriptions below to find your Nala book. Okay.
Yes.
So
If kids need to read Mawa,
definitely.
it's by us, for us. It's all like us, our hair, our tradition. It's just beautiful.
Yes. And
Check
also
it out.
support African writers and African content
Yeah,
creators.
exactly.
Yeah, so still with Ukraine, also there was a report today that I think we'll also cover it in today's news that there are still so many Africans, I think thousands, who fled Ukraine that are still trapped in Europe and have not yet been repatriated back home. So, as you said, they're treating Africans badly and they expect us to help them in turn. So, it's always the hypocrisy of the West that never ceases to amaze me. Right?
Yeah, and not to mention this refugees. I guess we can call them refugees because they're fleeing Ukraine, right? With
Yeah.
other Ukrainians, but like you saw the double standards. They're arrested. Like some of them, I read that they were in a detention. Actually, they're detained, like detained. They are escaping war. They were living in Ukraine, and these people are legal people. Like they have residence permits and they have uh, learning permits, work permits, whatever they need, and they fled with other fellow Ukrainians, and they were detained while the Ukrainians were given a place to stay. Airbnb is sponsoring hundreds of houses, like you can stay, where the UK is offering these people to come there and settle there, and the Africans that are legal are being detained.
Yeah.
This, I genuinely was pissed when I read this. How? How are we not focusing on this and we're asking Kenyans to fight on our war? Like, let's talk about this first.
Yeah, definitely. The problem with this is Europe has a culture of racism. It's rooted in how Europe was made and how it perceives Africa. So I wouldn't be surprised. I will actually be more surprised if they treated the Africans fleeing Ukraine fair or as normal people. When duck acts like a duck, it does not surprise me. So I'm just
It.
wondering what would be the solution to finally tell all Africans, like the ones who are seeking to go to study in Europe or to have a livelihood in Europe, that this is what you expect, right?
I
It's not
mean,
as they show in the
listen,
movies. Yeah,
it is, right? It is, because
definitely.
people are seeing things for what they are. And how can you even be motivated to go live there? Like, how? I get it. Poverty can make you decide things, and I understand. Like, I don't want to be insensitive to somebody's situation, but at the same time, most of them, if you ask them, I know we were going to talk about this later on. Maybe we can continue talking about this next. Is about our girls that go to these Arab countries, specifically now Saudi Arabia, because we're going to talk
Yeah,
about that.
yeah,
Ethiopia just given our citizens back to Ethiopia, right? Like 300 already came, and now 1,400. They're on their way today or tomorrow. They're gonna come back home. Give thanks. I'm so happy that they're coming back home, because I remember last year doing a report on them and how they were being treated. I get, I get being mistreated, and I get when we think about racism, but like literally making them sleep where they should. Like, it's, I don't know, there's a level of, for me, I guess what I find hard to understand is when you look at another human being, just because their shade or the color of their skin is different, how can you then think they're less than you, or the way you treat them? It's just, even dogs we treat, we have cats. We don't do that. We clean them up. We make sure that we give them an environment where they can thrive. Like, how can you sleep at night doing that to another human being? So the best thing for our youth is the experiences, and what those that went through what they went through will share with us. I have heard many stories from those girls that came from those Arab countries. And when they tell you their stories, you will cry. It doesn't matter if you're a man, you will cry, because you cannot believe that someone can go through all that and still be okay to live another day. So if we give these girls a platform, like here on our channel, like anybody that is interested to come and share their stories, I think that's the best thing to do for our youth. Yes, it's going to be sad. Yes, it's going to be depressing. But when you hear how you're being treated, and even better, when you see, now we have social media, we've seen how they were being treated. When you see, I think it does something to you. At least it's doing something to me. So hopefully, majority of our brothers and sisters can see this and be like, okay, I know there is a chance I might make it if I go there, but there's also a bigger chance of me succeeding here. I hope so.
like Like a good example is, do you remember the huge Lebanon blast? Was it like a few years back, right?
Yes.
So there were a lot of Ethiopian girls who were trapped there, right? So we worked with this Ethiopian activist who it was her job to bring them back because they were totally abandoned, like no pay, no salary, nowhere to live, nobody was caring for them, right? Yeah. So the best way of showing these girls or people who go abroad who are mistreated, who are attacked, who they are discriminated against, the best way we can do is to show they're always welcome back, right? Because some of them always feel ashamed to return back to Africa if things didn't work out or something bad happened to them, especially the ones in the Gulf, right? You know, you go there, people expect you to come back with something. Most of them feel that embarrassment of coming back with nothing. So all you have to say, it doesn't matter as long as you come home safe.
Yes.
Like Africa will always and is always home, regardless if you come with all the millions you made or you come back just with yourself and like your clothes on your back. It's okay. So as soon as we start teaching the youths and Africans in the diaspora or Africans who are in trouble, as soon as we teach them it's okay to come back, we will always welcome you. A family is family, regardless of what. I think more of them will start sticking out for themselves and start standing up for themselves. So maybe you can
And by the way,
explain.
most of it, sorry to cut you off, most of it is in their heads. Like any family member that really loves you, and most family members, yes, they would like the money you'll send home or the help that you will offer, but they would rather have you alive. So most of it is psychological, I believe, and it's not
Def-
really the people, yeah, out there really expecting you to come with something.
Yeah, and I asked my questions. Why would these people treat Africans like this? Why would Europeans do this? Why will people in the Gulf treat Africans like this? It's because this racism is taught. It's a cultural, it's a social thing that taught. No child is ever born racist, right? It's the institutional racism that they're taught. Like, hey, you're better than these people. So when you're a kid and they keep teaching you these things, when you grow up, like of course you become racist. Of course that's why Europe is racist. So that's why the Gulf is racist. So because they're teaching their kids that, yeah.
Yeah, and this reminds me of a video, if you remember last year, it was posted of a Chinese mother teaching her Chinese daughter.
Yeah,
You have you ever watched that
yeah,
video?
yeah.
And she was
Like I saw the video.
a black person, what will you do? Do this. Do not talk to this person. This person is this and that. And that kid is like, okay, okay, like she's literally indoctrinating her. And the girl just, and the sad part was she was asking her, remember that lady you're saying hi to? Because that girl already was, the little Chinese girl was saying hi to a black lady.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's why she was getting
and kids are innocent. Kids, I'm telling you, like no kid I've ever seen is like racist. It's just that the like if a kid is racist, it's just that they've got racist parents. Like it's simple as that. Like another example on that. Oh my goodness, it left my mind. Oh yeah, yeah. So in the United States, right? Which year is it today? It's 2022, right? They
Yes.
just passed an anti-lynching bill, right? Like, can you imagine out of all those years that the United States says it's the land of the free, it's just illegal to ban a black person just this year, right? So this is what I say, like a culture of racism, society built on racism, right? This is how their society is made, right? By putting down Africans and people of other cultures that they do not approve of or do not find worthy, right? So the reason why it took, I think it took like 53 tries, right? For United States to actually say lynching of African is actually bad and and against the law. Yeah, like it took 53 tries in the Congress, yeah? They call it Congress, right? Yeah. So the reason why it took 53 tries is because the society is racist, the culture is racist, and the system is racist, right? So this point that saying, oh, racism can be solved just by by like changing people's minds and what. No, no, no. You must change their system. You must change their culture. Yeah, and you must change their society for racism to finally be over. So never go to the United States and say it's the land of the free. It's like it's usually actually like ironic. Even Steve Harvey himself, like we did a Candid Africa speech, Steve Harvey telling African youths, right, not to come back to the United States because it's there's nothing good there for you, right? It's just racism, hate, and death that's there for you. And then he just said it like honestly, like candidly. The things you see in America is just in Hollywood, right? The glitzy life. Like as an African, if you want to be successful, if you want to create your own things, if you want to be respected, be in Africa or come back to Africa, start your business here, invest in Africa. That's the way forward. That's the future. Africa is the future, and we'd always encourage people from the diaspora to start investing now, right? It's not a must you physically come here. You can start laying your seeds. So when you've made your money, you come and retire back home. Right? Which which
Yep.
which was Steve Harvey's which was Steve Harvey's message? He said he's made his money. He has the ability to come and comfortably invest in Africa, which he has done. He's invested in Ghana and he's invested in South Africa. He's given hundreds of people jobs, right? So we'd encourage everybody else in the diaspora to follow suit.
Yeah, I agree with Steve Harvey on this one.
Yeah. So maybe you can just, because you mentioned it a bit, what Ethiopia is doing to the people, the immigrants who are stuck in Saudi Arabia. Maybe you can just clearly state to.
They have announced that they're bringing them back home, and this is a huge deal because it was a conversation between the Saudi Arabia government and Ethiopian government for the longest time, and it's it's sad that it took all this time, but at least it is going to be a good step. But there, it's not even. You might think 1,000 something Ethiopians coming back home might be a big deal. Yes, it is, but there are hundred. Like, can you imagine? Like, there's over 100,000 Ethiopians there right now, like in the Arab countries, and just in Lebanon when they went through the chaos and when unemployment hit and there's no money in the household, most Ethiopians were kicked out of the house like they're nothing because the owners themselves of the house cannot afford to eat themselves. So they just threw them out and they were out on the streets and they were begging their governments. There were Kenyans, I believe mostly Kenyans, Ethiopians, and Nigerians were the ones that were most affected by this. And so the ones that Ethiopia is bringing back home are the ones that were detained and they were there living in this filthy environment, like hundreds of them in one room. Their condition, you just can't imagine how they were. Ooh, that image came to my mind. Sorry, and it's just there was a video that went viral of that prison that they just detained them in, and a guy died. A young man died, and the people knocked at the door, been asking the guards to come and take him, and they told him no. So they had to cover him and sleep and live with the dead body, like that's a human being that we're talking about. So it's just, it makes me so happy that we're taking the first step to bring at least the first batch. I know there are many more and it's going to be expensive and many more trips to bring all of them back. I know it's going to be good, but for the government to take this step, I think is a good start.
And as we are in Ethiopia, maybe you can tell people more about what's going on in the United States, trying to sanction Ethiopia because they couldn't beat Ethiopia through illegal means. Now they're trying to use their laws to try to take down the Ethiopian government.
Yeah, they're doing quite a lot. And from my understanding, I don't live in the US, and from my understanding and from what I've gathered, they're trying to pass this bill called HR 66-100, 100, I believe, 6600. So what they are claiming is, let me actually read for you. It's called Ethiopia Stabilization, Peace and Democracy Act. It's to bring stabilization, peace, and democracy. Okay, keep that in mind. That's the like when you read this, you're like, oh, okay, cool, let's do this, right? And they say the purpose is to support, the efforts to end the war. They say it's to stabilize and end violence. They also say it's to hold accountable those who committed international human rights violation. Okay, cool, cool. So far, so good, right? So, but the thing is, what they are trying to do here is, let me read for you what I was able to gather. This bill will apply to persons who undermined efforts of ceasefire and negotiated settlement to end war. You know who did that? They were asking our government to stop the war, and this is directly going to affect who did what. Like the government, we all know the reason why it was not stopping. There were a couple of times, obviously, there was a call for ceasefire from the government side, and the rebel group said no. In the first place, if it was the United States, are we even going to talk about making peace with a rebel group? Like, will the US be doing that with somebody?
Like I gave the example. Like I gave the example during 9/11 when they blew the buildings, right? Like now the world is like, hey, you should talk to the Taliban, America, right? You know, it's the same thing.
Yeah, and otherwise it'll be sanctions. So the other thing they said it applies to is to take action or policy that expands or extends the civil war, and the other one is the entity that obstructed, delayed, or diverted humanitarian assistance, and the other one is knowingly contributed, with material or weapon or training or finance. So what this means is if you're found guilty in one of these, they're going to your military will not be getting, if you're buying weapons as a country or if you need support, or they're going to suspend aid or with communication, let's say the Facebooks, the whatevers, like Russia now, they've stopped. The Russians are off the grid now.
Everything, yeah, yeah,
Because the West is not aligned, so also legally. So when you look at this bill from just like generally, you're like, okay, it's not that bad. They're trying to help Ethiopia, but context matters. Context really matters, and in this context, as you know, I've seen you've reported on Ethiopia very well. I might add, thank you very much. They are saying if any of these are not followed, then they want to put sanctions. They want to tell you can't buy weapons. They want to tell you that you'll be off the grid, basically. So how is this? So why Ethiopians are fighting this, or at least the diasporas that are in America, why they're trying to fight this is because it is going to affect the people, not officials, not government. Sanction only hurts people, and they're only finding reasons to put sanctions on Ethiopia. As we know, the context is different. As we know, when the Ethiopian government tried to stop the war or like call a unilateral truce, what happened? They were telling them like, you're a good stand-up comedian. It's not going to happen. It's funny. The rebel groups refused. So and even the last time they stopped, they pushed through other regions, Afar and Amhara region. So what do you expect the government to do? Sit and look pretty? Like they need to do something to protect the people. I'm not for war, especially in my country, especially my brothers and sisters dying. I'm totally against it, and I hope we find a way to fix this. Thankfully, now they have agreed to ceasefire and the aid to go through Tigray. So, and the trucks are sent. So I'm really thankful, and I hope the people get what they need and deserve. But let's talk about this. This is not going to help Ethiopia. It's only going to affect the Ethiopian people. And if it's going to affect Ethiopian people and hurt them even more, why would we allow it to pass? Why would we help or give voice to this? So that's what the diaspora are trying to do. Ethiopians, they're trying to reach out to their Congress, the people that have power, and just tell them that no, this is not going to help Ethiopia.
And I'll simply tell you what that bill is about. America is in the business of helping itself. It's not in the business of helping other countries. Like that's just how it works. It's simple as that. That's fact. It's no surprise. Everybody knows America is in the business of 100% helping itself. So the only reason it's pretending to help Ethiopia with that deal is because it will empower the other side, the TPLF, which
Yeah,
will enable them to eventually be able to retake power. And the reason
yeah,
they want them to retake power is that they can control the TPLF if it's in government. Right now, they can't control the Ethiopian government, and it's worrying them, right? Because Ethiopia is a huge regional bloc in the Horn of Africa. So if they lose the Horn of Africa, they lose most of the Arab world, like that, slowly. So it's just a way to keep control of the region. It's just another way to colonize Africa. That's why that bill is there, and that's the only purpose of that bill. That bill is not meant to help any Ethiopian people, because as soon as you agree with them, they'll take it away. Like they took out that agreement was called AGOA, how they took it
Barbara.
from Ethiopia.
Yeah,
They were surprised to see that people are okay. People are surviving, right? It's not the end of the world. Meaning they're seeing their relevance is waning down. So this is another effort. Now we took away AGOA, they did not react. So let's try to take away things that we have no right of taking away. So yeah. So that's the whole point of that bill, to control Ethiopia. So I'm hoping the diaspora in Ethiopia would call up their congressmen and tell them that, hey, you Democrats, we've been voting for you all this time. Even if we think these Republicans are racist, let's rather vote for a racist who we know will leave us alone than a person, a pseudo non-racist who wants to control and exploit us, right? So that's the threat they need for no more. And I think there are elections soon. I think the midterms, they're soon. And I'm really hoping sorry for that. I'm really hoping the diaspora in Ethiopia, they shows these Democrats that, hey, if you don't do our bidding, we'll vote for the other guys. Even the Somalis in the diaspora, they show these Democrats, hey, if you don't help our country, or if you don't follow things we care about, we will vote for the other guy. Even if we think the other guy is racist, we'd rather rather keep them out. We cannot support you and then you double cross us. So I'm really hoping in the midterm election the African diaspora show these Democrats what they can do if they stop listening to them.
yeah. And I really hope this doesn't get passed, because sanctions, we've seen how they can bring down countries, and it's no joke, right? They know the power.
And the
That's why
trick,
they.
yeah, like and the trick they use, like let me show you how evil America is. So they're like America will say, we've never sanctioned America, the UK, Europe, EU. We've never sanctioned Zimbabwe. We've just sanctioned the people in government places in Zimbabwe, right? So what that means, if the president is sanctioned, like the state is under the president, right? So he can't do any business of the country. So he can't purchase this, he can't purchase weapons, he can't purchase food, he can't do this, right? If a general is sanctioned, he can't do this and do this, right? So they choose the people to sanction that will cripple the economy, right? And by crippling the economy, they want to encourage a coup, so that the person they don't agree with is removed, and they put in a puppet that will definitely, like it's usually a very easy thing to do. Sanction people, make the people angry, the people will revolt, remove the current government. A new government is there that will be good boys and listen to what the Americans say. So, yeah, like that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
So it's we're in the almost the 30-minute mark, or we passed the 30-minute mark. So let's just catch up. Welcome, for the people who joined us in the middle. This is the Weekly Africa podcast, this show where we just talk about the current happenings in Africa, in the news, where we just give out our opinions. So this is not a news show. We're just talking about what we think of the news, right? We're just critiquing what's currently happening. Uh, you can find this show on our podcast channel. It's called Tunaskia. We just launched it, and we'll be putting more podcasts like over there. So please subscribe to the channel. I'll put it in the link below, where you'll be hearing more of us. Tunaskia means we're listening in Swahili. Yeah, so if you're a fan of Tunacheki, I'm sure you'll also be a fan of Tunaskia, because it will be the same content, just more of audio. We will be available on all the podcast platforms, from Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify. Yeah, just all podcast platforms will be there. Plus, of course, YouTube. You can listen to us on YouTube. So we'll put in the links, and I'm hoping you'll follow our podcast as much as you follow our channel. Okay, so let's continue talking about what happened in Africa. So maybe we can go with the football match between Senegal and Egypt, where the Egyptians are claiming that the Senegalese fans were pointing laser pointers at the players' eyes when they were taking penalties, like Mo Salah, and ended up losing the match because of that. So maybe I know you said you're not a big fan of football, so maybe you can tell me, like, what do you think of that? Like, why fans would go to such an extent to win a match, to go to the World Cup?
Even though I'm not a fan of football, I get that in any game you have to be fair and you would want to win fairly. That's my assumption, right? Like you would want to win a game fairly and get the prize, and just that's how you'll be happy that you've achieved that. But like if that's true, I don't know how true that is, but if that is true and they did that, I don't think that's right. I disagree with that, and I do not believe that's the way to go. It doesn't matter if you want your team to win or not. Like you want to do it the right way, and for them to put laser pointers on the players' eyes, I thought it was childish, but also unethical. It's just, yeah, I didn't like it. But you tell me, since you're the football fan, how did that make you feel?
So for me, I feel it's so unfair, because the players, the Senegalese players, did nothing wrong. They dedicated their lives to play football, like they're just playing football. They're doing their jobs, right? They're doing to the best of their abilities, and it's the fans who spoilt it for them, right? Because right now FIFA is talking about doing a rematch, talking about disqualifying Senegal, right? But now the problem is the fans are actually hurting the team, right? So for me, it's just about being responsible, right? So if you're in a crowd, if you're in a group, you see somebody doing something wrong, it's your responsibility to tell them, like, hey man, stop it, stop this. It will end up doing the opposite of what you want to do, right? So for this, I'll leave it up to the officials for CAF and FIFA to decide what to do, if there'll be a rematch or if they'll just go as it is. Because like I feel it's unfair for Egypt, right?
Yeah.
And the match was hotly contested, right? Like the teams were fairly matched, right? So it was actually a good game, which is the whole point of football. You want teams that are worth watching, right? So at the end of it, when fans spoil the game for everybody, it like the situation just sucks, right? Yeah. We'll see what FIFA and CAF will decide, if there'll be a rematch or things will just go. So people in the comments, tell us what you think. Should Senegal and Egypt play the match? Should Senegal be disqualified, or should Senegal, because the team did nothing wrong, right? Technically, the team did nothing wrong. Should they proceed to the World Cup? Let us know in the chat, and maybe at the end of it all, we'll read some and feature some, right? What about on the side? Anything else that happened during the week?
Yeah, I think now we can go to entertainment. There's nothing on your side.
yeah. More like the light things that happened during the week, right?
Yes, yeah, let's also try to, you know, have a little bit of fun in our days. Like
Yeah,
sometimes,
yes.
let me be honest here. Like sometimes, really keeping up with what goes on in Africa, even the world or the diaspora community, can just really bring you down and make you feel like this is the world, and that's why you need some type of entertainment or like relaxation or like something that is
Mhm.
light so that you don't stress too much, because it's also not good for us. We're trying to bring solution, we're not trying to depress ourselves. Okay.
Yeah, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're right. Sometimes reading this news it's actually not good for your health, right? And you need to unwind, go take a walk, get a
I think
hobby, so that because if you're in it too much, it can be really stressful to your personal lives and personal relationships. So it's always good to talk about other things, but still African, but other fun things. So maybe I'll start with. So there's this show on Netflix called Young and Famous, where they bring
yeah,
African
like an
celebrities, right?
African.
Yeah. So the show has gone viral. Everybody's talking about it. So there's one scene that people were like went completely
Making fun of.
viral and was trending. Yeah. So Diamond Platinum is one of the largest, most famous, and most successful musician in Africa. So people were laughing at him because at some point, instead of saying he's 31 years old, he said he's 31st years old.
Yeah.
So people were laughing at his English, and my personal opinion is that most people who are laughing at his English, and English is not our mother tongue. English is just a colonial language, right? And for most of those people who think Africans talk funny with a funny accent, majority of people abroad in the United States, in Europe, in Australia, can only speak one language, right? Most Africans can speak two or more languages, not even one. Majority of Africans can speak two or more languages, right? So I always find it's unfair that Africans get made fun of for not mastering a foreign language, right? While the people who are judging them can't even speak one word of our language. Yeah. So, what's your opinion on that?
Where do I start? First of all, I watched the show. I finished it. I guess they're working on another season or episodes, because like I think there were only 6 episodes, and it was really nice. Like it was entertaining as far as reality shows goes, and also I think they showed how beautiful Africa is, specifically South Africa, because it was filmed in South Africa. It was beautiful. So I loved this reality show for the way it portrayed Africans, because we always or usually hear Africans needing help, needing aid, famine, living in the forest, huts, all that stuff, right? So for them to show the international audience that, look, this is Africa as well. Like there's this part to Africa as well, and there are these famous people that live the life, that fly private jets, and that wear all the brand names that you wear. Like I'm glad that it showed that side of Africans, and I love that. But when it comes to the language, first of all, Netflix have so many shows that are in different languages, or even the ones that are in English and they're foreign. You can tell that that's not their first language, and they are not comfortable, or like they're not fluent speaking in that language. And I've never thought, they don't speak. Like you try, do you understand them? If not, put the subtitle in there so that you can understand it a bit more, right? So I hate that we are obsessed. I want to start from us because it starts from home. And there are many Africans that made fun of him. We'll address the rest, but let's talk about our own first. And I remember when I was reading those comments, I was like, what? You know, if you talk to Diamond in Swahili, he'll be
Yeah,
fluent as well.
like for me,
Right?
I'm Kenyan, and I'm like if Diamond talks to me in Swahili, I'll be like, what? Huh? and understand Kiswahili, but he just he's mastered the language.
Thank you. So for me, it's like, okay, if you come talk to me in Amharic, girl, like I would not stop. There's no pause. There's no cause like that's my first language. Same with you. Same with other people. Like if it's your first language, if it's like that's what you grow up communicating with, you are going to be better than somebody that just came to your country trying to speak your language, or like that went to school just to learn English. Like it's gonna be different. So why are we putting so much weight in him not being fluent in English? He's a superstar. He's a millionaire. He is doing so much better than that person probably commenting. So I feel like how we think English equals smart. It's not.
Yeah.
I can tell you it is not. And I said, let's start from home, because I remember the first comment ever that I got on like accents and English was from a fellow Ethiopian on my YouTube channel. And I know because our names are different. I can tell that it's either Ethiopian or Eritrean, right? We have the similar names. So I was like, I read it and I was like, what? He literally wrote, yo, work on your English accent. And I'm like, did you understand me? Why do you care? Why do you care? Like, if you see, for me, what's really important, for example, me and you, our job might require us to speak English, right? But at the end of the day, as long as our audience understands us, I don't think we need to go above and beyond to work on something that is not broken. If it's hard for you to communicate and that your job requires it, you have to know your grammar, you have to work hard at it. But like a diamond, why does he need to be fluent? Why do Africans feel pressure to have an accent or know all the like even Americans? Like I don't know why, but it's not even like Australians have a different way of speaking. They speak English. Are they coming for them? The British? It's different. Are they coming for them? South Africans, they speak English, but it's different, as we saw on the show. Even though they're a bit more fluent than Diamond, they were able to communicate better. There was accent there, so it gets on my nerves, to be honest. That we associate like English with you being better than other people. It really does, because there are so many Africans that feel ashamed to go out there and do what they need to do and fulfill their purpose, because they feel like people will make fun of them, and that's not right, and that's not true, most importantly. So my take on this was shame on us Africans, first of all, that came for Diamond and made fun of him. At the end of the day, we all got what he was saying. He was trying to say he's 31 years old. He said 31st. Didn't you get it, Michael? I got it. I'm sure you got it. I was calling you got it. So I think it's ridiculous, but for the ones that are outside of Africa that made fun of him, as you said, how many languages do you speak?
I'm sure. Majority, and then the sad part, like you say, in English it's not even that bad, but for francophone speakers it's even worse. So like they're way more. Like what's stick up the ass more when it comes to their languages. So so that's one thing I know. For francophones,
that is why we need a language.
Definitely. Yeah.
We don't have to kill ourselves trying to speak somebody else's language. If you have one language, Netflix can put on subtitles if they want to. Famous show. What was it? The Korean, or is it Korean or Japan? What was it? Japan. There was money involved, and they kill each other. It was famous.
Squid Game.
Were they killing themselves trying to speak in English? No.
So the question is, should no Africans just start making content in our own language? If they want to watch, they have to check out the subtitles. Yeah.
let me clarify that. That's going to be tricky for now because you see, even me, I had an option of having a YouTube channel in Amharic, right? But the thing is, I'm only going to speak to Ethiopians if I do that. Same with you. If you're going to speak in Swahili, you're only going to reach out maybe Tanzanians, Kenyans, Ugandans, people that can speak that language.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
we want the whole Africa to come together. But then
yeah.
after maybe that, in the process of us communicating in English or French, whatever language is going to work for our unity, on the side, we can go ahead and focus on one language. For now, I think the push is on Swahili. I agree
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
easier,
definitely.
it's simpler. Also, many African countries already are
Yeah.
communicating in Swahili. So,
And it's not a tribal language. You can't say it's from this
yeah,
tribe or this
yes,
community. It's
yes.
just general.
I
Okay,
agree.
yeah, yeah. So as what you had, leave Diamond alone. He's rich. He doesn't care your opinion. Yeah. So yeah. So now we can go to Kenya. So now that was on Tanzania. So Lupita Nyong'o showed the world the African expression of like what during the Oscars. We covered this like we did this trending news where if you are in the diaspora in the US, they had the Oscars and Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Yeah, but for us, we are more interested in like that's their personal drama and stuff, right? But us we're more interested in our person, Lupita Nyong'o, who was behind, who was like what can I say, like a witness, Yeah, and the expression stole the whole show, and for me is that's why we need this representation because people need to see our attitudes and our point of views because nobody else reacted like that, right? It was only that African reaction where where your expression says the whole story, where you don't need to talk or anything, just yeah. So if you've not seen that video, please, I would suggest you see it. You can skip the slap and the other part, but the expression was just uh, classic. Yeah.
It was. I loved her reaction because if it was, I feel like another person, they will try to mask it or something. Her, it was so raw. It felt so real. It's like, and even the way her eyes moved quickly so that she doesn't miss a beat. Like she looked at Will Smith saying something, and she's like, "Let me see what Chris Rock is like." It was a real human reaction, and I really loved it.
The same way you'd watch a Nigerian movie is the same way she was watching like what was happening, like the drama,
Oh,
So
it's
yeah,
funny.
so that
She
was
went viral. Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
slap next to the slap, it was like Lupita's reaction.
Definitely, yeah, yeah, and she was like in the rest of the world. I'm sure Will Smith or Chris Rock was trending, but in Kenya, I checked the other parts in Africa. It's Lupita Nyong'o who was trending.
Wow.
So yeah, so that goes to show you how important representation is, right? Uh,
We needed that face in that moment. She made it what it was.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think we're almost reaching an end to episode 2 of our show, and as always, thank you for joining. We really appreciate you guys. We appreciate your opinion. So from next week, we'll be bringing in some of our channel members who support us directly. Some of our people like people donors and some lucky subscribers who can join our conversation, ask us questions, or also talk about some of these topics with us. So if you're interested, you can, like, if you remember, this, you can let us know in our community. And for Wongel, you can directly contact her if you want to be part of the show. We'll send you a link, and yeah, we can have a group discussion and see what, like, how this conversation can be better. And also, please make sure to leave us your comments. Let us know what we can improve with the show, how we can be better. Notes for episode 3, notes for episode 4, so we can always keep making this show better, right? Yeah. So any last words?
Me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, well, I enjoyed our conversation very much so, and I love this. I love that we're doing this, and we are talking about important issues for us as Africans, as well as keeping it light at the end so that we can say bye to each other, feeling a bit happy and not depressed. As I said, we talk about this situations, issues, any concerns that we have in Africa because we want solution for our problems. It's not to cry about it. It's not to depress ourselves. So let's keep that in mind. Let's always work for better ways to handle what is happening and also have an open dialogue. We can, it's okay. Me and Michael can disagree. Who knows, maybe episode 3, we might be disagreeing on certain things, but open dialogue is really important in achieving what we want to achieve, and that is what unity.
Yes,
So thank
definitely.
you.
Yeah, yeah, and also to add on that, just because you disagree with somebody, it doesn't mean you can't be friends. You can disagree with somebody and be friends. So the whole point is understanding each other and sharing your ideas freely without fear, right? So this is why we do what we do, right? Yeah. So
And
with that said, thank you for joining. Make sure to check out Nala, the app, to get your free Mawa book. It will be in the descriptions below. Make sure to check out our podcast channel called Tunaskia. And as always, Africa is watching.
stay blessed. Bye.